Any other questions?
Grandma always told me to use a Q-tip.
That would be to pollinate. When you
Yeah.
with a lack of bees, some people will get a Q-tip and take pollen from one and put it. That's labor intensive.
She always told me, plant you about 6 foot of periwinkles. When your periwinkles need water, so does the rest of your garden.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true for everyone. Well, the rule of thumb on that is you stick your finger in your ground, and if you get moisture down 2 inches, you've got enough water. If you stick your finger down 1 inch and you don't hit no wet ground, then you need the water. All right. The legume family, that's the bean and pea family. I don't plant green beans. If I never eat another green bean the rest of my life, I'll be happy. If I never eat another pinto bean the rest of my life, I'll be happy. Because I don't care what kind of dinner you go to, what type of wedding reception you go to, where you go, you're going to get pinto beans or green beans. They won't serve you lima beans or black-eyed peas or something like that. It's green beans. And anyway, I do plant yellow wax beans, which I love, and I'll give you the name of a variety, and you can write it down. There's a variety of yellow wax beans called Rockdor, R-O-C-D-O-R. You can get them from Park Seed Catalog. They are a very good, tasty, very productive yellow wax bean. R-O-C-D-O-R. I just ordered a pound of seed a couple of weeks ago from Park Seed Catalog. But let's look at, we got green snap beans, lima beans. I used to raise lima beans and I love them. Them bush type, but they're labor intensive, just picking them damn things and then sitting there shelling them.
I love butter beans.
Yeah, butter beans, lima beans, it's about the same, but they're good and they'll do good in darker, heavier soils too. The southern pea, let me back up. Southern pea, what are we talking about when we say southern pea?
Black eye.
Black eye,
Yeah.
purple hull, cream, crowder. My favorite is the cream pea. What's the difference between a cream pea, a purple hull pea, and a black eye pea?
It doesn't have any black on it.
What?
A cream pea doesn't have any black on it.
You're right. The eye on the black eye pea, the eye on the purple hull pea is black. The eye on the cream pea is white. I only plant cream peas, and I love them. My family loves them, and they're very productive, and they're very good. I wouldn't waste my time planting black. If you can find the green peas, do you have them?
Green pea 40s and brown crowders. Brown crowders my favorite.
Well, I like the cream pea for it. That's a little tinier seed.
Yeah.
That's a good pea, and they do well all through the summer. They turn yellow when they're ready to pick. Yeah, they're a little labor intensive to shell them, but my son has an electric pea sheller because he raises a bunch of them, and I just go in and run them through his electric pea sheller.
Zipper peas are pretty good too.
Which one?
Zipper pea.
I planted the zipper pea before. Yeah, the zipper pea is all right. English pea, that's a fall crop. My neighbor got some sugar snaps growing in his garden right now. He said, we're talking across the fence. He said, these peas bloomed and I can't find no peas. I said, you ain't looking. I said, I can see 3 of them from here. So he started looking better and he found them sugar snaps. Sugar snaps are good to eat fresh, right off of the, I got a piece of breakfast in my mouth. They're good to eat right off the vine, and a lot of people use them in salads, and they're sweet, but they're not the most productive pea you can plant in the wintertime. They're just not really well suited for this. They're edible potted pea, soybean, jicama, and a runner bean. Okay, green snap beans, you plant March through April, and then it's probably one of the most popular varieties, and has been for years, is a contender. How many of you plant a contender bean? That's been around for years, and it's a good producing green bean. It's just about right.
And they're blue, something. Them blue something.
Oh, Blue Lake.
Blue Lake, yeah.
Blue Lake, yeah. There's a Blue Lake variety, and I could go on. I just don't know all of them. There's so many of them. And you want moderate fertility. Again, when I say moderate, here's where when I plant the beans, I put down triple 13. I till it in. I rake it down, and I'll plant my beans in hills. I don't plant them and drop them in rows. I'll plant them in hills. about this far apart, I put about 3 or 4 seeds to a hill, and I go back with my hoe, push the dirt on. And one important thing about planting any seeds is tamp the soil after you plant the seed. Why is this important? Because if you get moisture in the ground, or you have moisture in the ground, and that seed germinates and it sprouts, but it's got air around it, because the soil is not tamped, that seed is not going to come up. It's going to dry up in that air. So you got to tamp. And like carrots, for example, when I plant my carrots, you know how I plant my carrots? I make me a row, and then I take my hoe handle, and I lay my hoe handle down, and I press it half a hoe handle deep. I make me a row with that hoe handle all the way, and then I sprinkle my carrot seeds down in there. Because carrot seeds you don't want to plant deep. Then I take the back side of the rake, and I don't put but a half, maybe 3/4 inch of dirt on, and then I go back and I tamp it. Too many people who say they can't raise carrots, they plant them too deep. You got to plant them very shallow. And if you plant lettuce, radishes, turnips, just a half inch deep, and it makes a straight row, man. You can get a straight row when you plant them like that. Use that hoe handle, but just take your hoe handle and press it about half a hoe handle deep, and just go on down the row with it.
The best way,
Just get
get
your know
yourself,
how.
go ahead. Get your ground ready, sprinkle your seed, get your water hose, wet them down a little bit, lay you 2x6 for 3 or 4 days.
Yep.
Throw that board off, you'll have a perfect row of carrots.
That works.
My daddy used to use,
That's what grandma teaches me.
what we used to call grass sacks. I don't even remember what burlap
Yeah,
sack.
they dry up too quick.
What my daddy would plant them, and he'd have grass sacks with water every day, keep it wet, and that would work. But I like mine because I got a water hose and I'll water them every day. Carrots are slow to come up, but we'll get to that later on. Moderate fertility, harvest when pods are young and tender. Again, you don't want to let them get too old and tough. Lima beans, again, I'm trying to think of that variety. It's something called something wonder.
Kentucky one?
But they're moderate fertility, and again, when you're talking about these plants, they are all legumes. And what does a legume do for your soil?
I know you.
They are a nitrogen fixation plant. They take nitrogen from the air and put it onto the roots and put it back in the soil. And particularly peas, like black-eyed peas, when you pull them up, you'll see little nodules on the roots that is actually nitrogen, and they take that from the air. So they don't need a whole lot of fertilization. That's moderate fertilization. Harvest when the pods are mature and seeds fully developed. I like them. I like to raise them, but they're a pain in the butt to pick and to shell. And I can go buy some old ones. Southern peas, that's purple hull peas, plant April through August. When I was a kid, we used to plant black-eyed peas after we harvested our potatoes, because they'll grow late on into the summer. We plant peas after we dug potatoes.
So you plant them in May, they just make blooms.
What?
A lot of times you plant them in May, they just make blooms. It's the best to plant them in June.
Yeah. You know why? The nights are still too cool. So you got to have warmer nights in order for them peas to set pods on them. Require moderate fertility, prefer warm soil, and harvest when pods are mature and start to yellow. Edible potted peas, that looks like English peas.
We call them sweet peas.
What?
We call them sweet peas.
Sweet peas, yeah. English peas, sweet peas, sugar snaps, moderate again for fertility, and you can support them. I use cattle panels for supporting a lot of my vining crops, and I even use them for cucumbers. I did this year. I planted my row of cucumbers, and I took a cattle panel, I laid it right next to it, and then I put some steel post over here, and I let the cucumbers grow up this way, and that way the cucumbers would all be below the cattle panel. I could see them, I could just walk under and find them easier. They were hanging down from the cattle panel, so that's just a thought. You can find them better. One other thing about cucumbers, plant them far enough apart. I got a brother-in-law that raises a ton. he and my sister can over 100 quarts of pickles every year. And he cans pickles, he gets pickles, but his key is he plants them far enough apart. His vines do not overlap. You know, I plant mine and I end up with a jungle of vines. They don't get enough sun, the bees can't pollinate them well, but he plants them far enough apart that he can walk between them without stepping on a vine. And he makes a lot of cucumbers. And they're easier to pick. You walk from one bush to another, and he makes a ton of pickles. But he plants a Chicago pickling is the variety he plants. A lot of people use plant straight eights, but that Chicago pickling is a lot easier to pickle than shorter pickles. All right, we got off on the subject. All right, light production, okay, light production on these peas, but fine qualities. Common diseases and insects of the legume family. Anybody know what's causing those leaves to curl like that?
Aphids.
What?
Aphids.
Aphids. How you gonna treat them?
Sir,
How you gonna treat them?
I just put a dust in my spray 'em,
What are you gonna spray them with?
whatever I got.
You know one of the best things to spray them with? A
Soap and water.
a tablespoon of dish soap and a gallon of water and spray them. That'll do a good job on aphids.
I always heard if you put a little soap in your sprayer, when you mix up your chemicals to spray with, and you use just a little bit of soap in it with everything, and it works.
Well, the soap acts as a surfactant too.
Yeah, it kind of makes it stick.
Yeah, it's a
Sticks to the
surfactant.
plant.
See, you can buy commercial surfactant. Dan, y'all sell it about a gallon over there that you add to your spray to make your spray stick, and that soap will work too. That's what you got from that aphid. And see them right there? And if you look on the underside of the leaf, there's gonna be a bunch of them there. So